Hello, how is everybody doing? I'm gonna try on some new makeup today. Well, it's new to me, but this is Flower Beauty. It's Drew Barrymore's brand of makeup, and I was tagged a few times on Flower Beauty's releases. Finally, with the most recent tag, I thought, let's just give them a try here because I've heard many good things. So what I have here today, not a total full face makeup kind of try on, but I do have her Jungle Lights palette, which is a bestseller. That's the palette that a lot of people are talking about. And then I've also ordered Pyramids, which is a cheek glow or cheek color kind of palette situation, and this is PC2, the Peach Glow, and there's two different color sets on her website. The other one I would say is more of a medium to deeper skin tone friendly, but I think if you're looking for a nice color shimmer, both of these shades, the one that I have here and then the other one, I think would actually work for a lot of people. And then I have her Petal Pout lipstick. This one is a matte finish. She also has some cream finishes from this line, and looking through her website, I think most of the colors available now are the matte finish. So far, very comfortable on my lips. I've had this on for maybe about 40 minutes at this point, and not really drying. I think it definitely has a period where the lipstick and the product is settling into your lips and it begins to look a little bit more matte. But so far I think it's still pretty comfortable, and we'll see how it wears throughout the day. I'll have to update you on a different video. And before we go into the demo, I will do some swatches of the eyeshadow palette and even this Pyramids cheek color here. So first thing with the eyeshadow palette, when I opened it, so there was some tape here. Got rid of the tape, but I guess there was still a little bit of tape, just kind of, preventing it from open totally smoothly. And when I opened it, it like popped open, and the shadow right here, this is Jaguar, kind of just popped up. And I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but can you see that sort of tear here and a little bit here? Part of the shadow, the product just kind of went like this from the pan, and I was like, uh-oh, is it just gonna come apart? It didn't, thankfully, and it looks like if I gently push it, I can kind of flatten the product again. But I'm a little bit paranoid when I go in, whenever I have to open the palette. I'm like, what if more comes out? But the shadows are very soft. This is just from me pressing onto it. They're very soft, and most of them have a very foil-like texture. So since we started on Jaguar, I'll do that one first. So I have some blush swatches from a different video, but this is Jaguar, and this is Wild, and this is Paradise, then we have Tiger Lily. Whew. That is one swatch. And Anaconda. And then Amazon. My favorite shade from the palette is Wild. That is what I have on the inner corners all the way to the center of the lid. I also have a little bit of that under my eyes. And I would say the smoothest shade to work with that was easy to pick up pigment from using a brush is going to be Tiger Lily. Because of the texture of these shades, they were, depending on which one it wasn't always easy to use a brush and get enough pigment. So you'll see in the demo that I did go in with a finger at some point because I just wanted a stronger color payoff. But in general, they were easy to work with. So this palette, Flower Beauty is a drugstore brand, so the prices of their product are in that range, what you expect from drugstore. This palette is $19, and for $19, 6 shades, the amount of product you get, let's see here, it is 0.7 ounces or 21 grams. It's a good amount of product, and you do get good color payoff. As you can see here, all the swatches really did pretty well. This deep purple here I think is actually difficult to perfect, whether it's a matte deep purple or a metallic or foil-like, and I thought they did a good job with it. Not the easiest to pick up with just any brush, so I think depending on what you have, you might have to play around. You might need to use your finger. And because of the texture and how soft they do kick up a bit. But they are easy enough to work with. And before we head to the demo, let's swatch this. And the way I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna do that. I know it's not very even. I probably get a better application through a brush. Looks kind of messy on my finger, but I think on a brush, you'll see in the demo that it does go on pretty evenly and pretty nicely. But that's a great color payoff, a ton of shimmer. It's buttery, it's soft, just like the eyeshadow palette. All right, well, let's head on over to the demo. I'll have some more thoughts on the quality of the eyeshadows afterwards. For today's look, I actually want to have a matte base and a few matte shades to complete my look, because everything on the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette, they're all metallics. And so what we're gonna do is I've enlisted Viseart's 01 Mattes palette, and we're actually gonna add this beigey shade all over the lid. Now we're ready to jump into the Jungle Lights palette. We're gonna take Anaconda and Amazon. We're mixing these two together, and we're gonna apply that to the outer corners. The brush is actually not picking up as much product as I was anticipating. Let me switch. This is the Builder Pro brush from Sonia G. I'm gonna switch over to another brush. Okay, so now I have the soft shader brush, Undyed Goat Hair from Sonia G's Sky Eye Set. Let's give that a try. Looks like it's picking up more product, so that's good. Yep, this is working. Okay. And now using the other side of the brush, we're gonna dip that into Wild, and we're going to add that to the inner corners all the way to the center of the lid. I'm not picking up as much product as I would hope with that same brush. So I'm gonna go in with my pinky and I'll add that on like this. Getting some fallout on my face, I can feel it, but I'm getting a lot more product for sure. Let's clean off the product. We're gonna use Tiger Lily as a transition between the outer corners and then Wild. So I'm gonna go back in with the Builder Pro, that first brush I used, because I don't need too much pigment, just enough to give it a transition that's noticeable, but not to kind of overtake either of those colors that's already on the lid. Now I'm going to blend Jaguar and Anaconda, and we're going to add some of that into the outer crease and just diffusing the color all the way through this upper part, all the way through the crease. Looks like I'm getting a lot of pigment from that, so it's good. And I just want to fluff out the color some more without adding more pigment. So I went to a different brush. This is a classic crease from Sonia G's Sky Eye Set. I'm going to put on some foundation concealer and we'll come back for the rest. We'll go ahead and add Paradise to the brow bone. As well as the inner corners. And I am just wild for the shade here, also called Wild. And I want to add that to my lower lash line to just smoke it out a little bit here. There's not a lot of color, but it'll definitely lighten up the whole look under the eyes. This is an extra step. You don't need to do this. If you like how clean things look right now, you can keep it that way, but for a little bit more added effect, we can just add a little bit of shimmer and foil. These textures are all very foil-like under the eyes. We're going to add some liner to thicken up the upper lash line. And then liquid liner. And for lips, we're going to try Flower Beauty's matte formula. This is in the color 050 Autumn Rose. So for blush and highlighter, for highlighter and even some cheek shimmer, we're gonna use Pyramids. This is a cheek color PC2 Peach Glow. So it sounds like you can use it as a blush, but also as a highlighter. And it really does remind me of what Bobbi Brown has, those kind of brick highlighters that they do. And I think the most recent one looks very, very similar to this with the different pigments here, different shades that are kind of in these like square designs. So I think on one cheek, we'll just swirl a brush onto the entire palette and just apply it all over the cheek to see what it looks like. And then on the other cheek, we might go in with just some of the pink here and then add some of the shimmers up here as like a highlight and see what that effect looks like. So for my right cheek, I'm just gonna go into this like pink little square here. I might get some colors from the blocks next to it, but that's okay. I'm just focusing on this area, get rid of some excess. Get some color there. And with a smaller brush, we're going to get some of this and then add it as a highlight. Ooh, definitely very glass-like, very blingy. Then with a very fluffy face brush, we're gonna just swirl this around. I've got a lot of product on now. Just getting rid of that excess. Just gonna go light-handed because I'm not sure what I'm gonna get from this. Okay, that's pretty. That's really pretty, actually. That's really pretty. This is the finished look. So a couple more thoughts on the Jungle Lights eyeshadow palette. Again, the shadows were all easy to work with. They're intensely foil-like. And I was just generally pretty impressed with the deep purple Jaguar here, even though when I opened it there was some kind of mishap and at any moment I'm like, are you gonna pop out, are you gonna fall apart? Maybe that could happen, I'll just have to be careful. But I was just really impressed that, you know, you get really good color payoff from it. It's not a color that's easy to formulate. And have it easy to work with and also have the kind of finish you're going for. So again, with the price of this palette, $19, plus the finished product, I really think there's a lot of value in that. And if there is one reason, or if I had to pick one reason why I would continue to go back to this palette, is for the shade. It's stunning. It's that cool, and it kind of has that gray reflex, gray purple, champagne. It's so pretty. And I have nothing in my collection right now that looks like this in shade, in finish. Just so pretty. And I chose to use a matte shade from Viseart as a eyeshadow base today, but you can create looks without that. You can mix the shades here, which is what I did today, to create dimension, so you don't really need any matte shades. And today I chose to use a matte shade from Viseart to put down as a base before I went in with all of these shades here. But you can create complete looks just mixing different colors in here and creating dimension from that. But I would say you might be better off using this palette as a lid topper, like a supercharged palette where you would use mostly as lid toppers, and you might have a few matte shades to accompany your look. I do think you would get more depth if you added some matte shades in with these metallics. You could get more dimension, more definition. It's a more nuanced look. On camera, with the lighting kind of blasting behind, this looks pretty pigmented and has a good amount of depth, but in person, you could see that I could probably get a little bit more out of it if I mix it in with some other matte shadows, for example. So I think for a lid topper palette with the ability to also do double duty and give you complete looks, this is a good palette. But this isn't something I would reach for if I wanted to go for a full complete look. Like, I wouldn't think of it as that. But if I wanted any kind of shimmer that's cool tone, purpley gray, I'm gonna go straight to this, straight to Wild here. So that's my thought on this palette. Of the 3 products that I tried from Flower Beauty today, the one that stood out most to me actually is the Petal Pout lipstick. This matte formula, it's a soft matte because you can still see, you know, some shine on my lips, but it sits really comfortably, and I love a great matte look. This color is also beautiful. This exceeded my expectations. After trying the Hermes lipsticks and Wayne Goss from earlier this year, I thought, oh boy, I'm just gonna be so picky. You've got a luxury high-end experience with Hermes, and with Wayne Goss, you've got such a high quality, such a all-day comfortable formula. But what room do I have in my heart in 2020 to get more lipsticks from another brand when I have these 2 brands that I really like, that I really want to get more lipsticks from? But here we are with Petal Pout. Very, very surprising. I think the lipstick really completes the look. If you have Flower Beauty products, I'd love to hear what you like about them, anything that you would recommend. This is a brand that I would keep my eye on and see what new and maybe perhaps innovative products that they would release in the future. Good to see you guys. If you're new to the channel, good to have you. Welcome. Like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. See you guys in the next one. Bye.